Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Marina here and I'm so glad to have you back. If it's your first time here, my name is Marina. I make videos from Saskatoon, Canada, where I share about my experiences as a Nigerian immigrant in Canada. Please do well to hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notification so that you get notified every time I post a new video. In today's video guys, I'm going to be correcting common misconceptions about Africa. I'm originally Nigerian. I now live in Saskatoon, Canada, and I have heard the most ridiculous misconceptions about Africa. Today I'm going to be debunking some of those misconceptions, so this is going to be a jolly ride, so sit back, enjoy yourself. Number one, Africa is not a country. No, it is not a country. Don't do that. There are only 7 continents in the world. Why do you not know them? Why? When I was in high school, I was taught a song. How many of you remember this song? There are 7 continents in the world. I can name them. What about you? 7. Just 7. And Africa is one of them. Africa is not a country. It is a continent with 54 independent countries. 54 countries that exist independent of one another. They have their own presidents. They have their own constitutions. They have their own currencies, their own national anthem, their own rule of law, their own pattern of government, everything different from each other. 54 independent countries. So the next time somebody tells you, hello, my name is Unkuli, I'm from Kenya, please resist the urge to tell them things like, oh, I have a friend whose name is Bill from Uganda. Do you know him? We do not all know each other. It sounds ridiculous when you do that. It's like asking 2 people, random people on the streets of Saskatoon, if they know each other simply because their skin colors are alike. That's how ridiculous it sounds. Yeah, we all do not know each other. Even in Nigeria, where I'm originally from, Nigeria has a population of over 200 million people. How in Pete's name am I even going to know 1/1000th of that population? I don't know every Nigerian, let alone everyone who's African. So the fact that you see 2 people who have the same skin color does not automatically mean that they know each other. We do not all know each other in the continent of Africa. It is a continent and we all don't know each other. Make sense? That being said, because there are different countries that are independent of each other, we do not have one language that we all speak in Africa. When you ask people questions like, do you speak African? It sounds ridiculous because there's no such thing as, do you speak African? I've heard stories of people who have been asked questions like, do you speak Nigerian? Now Nigeria is even one out of the 54 countries, and even do you speak Nigerian is a ridiculous question because there's no such thing as Nigerian as a language. Okay, Nigeria was colonized by England. That means English is the official language in Nigeria. I have spoken English my entire life. I went to school, I was taught in English. My thoughts are in English. Yeah, I was taught how to read in English. I was taught how to pronounce words properly. In fact, I learned how to pronounce words by transcribing them to their sounds. That's how proper the English I grew up speaking is. So the next time you feel the need to ask me, oh, your English is so good, where do you learn to speak English that well? I have spoken English my entire life, and that is just Nigeria, one out of the 54 countries in Africa. So there's no such thing as African as a language. Okay, we speak different things in different regions in Africa. Depending on where you are, the language is going to be different. Okay, so there's no such thing as, do you speak African? It is a ridiculous question. Don't do that. Okay, we are not all hunters in Africa. We do not live in the jungle. We do not walk around naked and catch animals and eat raw meat. That is just plain ridiculous. Africa is not a jungle. Africa is not the desert. Please do one Google search and educate yourself. We are not all hunters in Africa. That being said, we do not have lions and tigers and gorillas and chimpanzees as pets in Africa. You guys, come on. Those are wild animals. They belong either in the safari or in the zoo. Every time I saw a lion, it was in the zoo. I do not come out of my house and a lion is strolling on my streets. I don't know where those very, very funny notions have come from, but I do not have lions and tigers as pets. They are in the zoo and in the safaris where they belong. Okay. We do not live in huts. Not everybody in Africa is a pauper. Forget those pictures you see on the internet, those pictures that the media portrays and shows particular parts of Africa and project that like that's how the entire continent is. Not everybody in Africa is poor. Not everybody in Africa is going around naked because they cannot afford clothes. They are part of the continent of Africa. There are some countries in Africa where there's extreme poverty, where that happens, but that is not the narrative for everyone who is African. Okay, Africa is a very rich continent. The first problem of Africa is not poverty, it is embezzlement and misappropriation of the resources that should benefit everyone, but it is embezzled and it is misappropriated by a small percentage of people who are supposed to be our leaders. They have become rulers. They steal the resources. That's why people are that poor. So Africa as a continent is not a poor continent. We just have problems managing our resources. Not everybody is poor. Not everybody is eating off garbage bins. Not everybody is drinking water from muddy puddles. We are not all poor in Africa. Next misconception about Africa that I would like to correct is that we are not constantly at war. That's not all that happens in the continent of Africa. Are there parts of the continent that is disturbed? Are there parts of the country that is that experiences some kind of unrest because of acts of terrorism, because of acts of war? Yes. But is that the case with the entire continent? No. I am from Nigeria, and there's a part of Nigeria that has experienced unrest because of issues relating to terrorism. That is not the case in the entire country. So you will be wrong if you say the entire country of Nigeria has been terrorized. Now that's one country. If that does not hold true for one country, how then is the entire continent always at war? How then is the entire continent of Africa all constantly at war? I have heard more stories of gun violence in North America than I have experienced the entire time that I lived in Nigeria. That is the truth. It is not always war. We're not constantly running and dodging bullets in the continent of Africa. So for those of you who would say, I'm going to Africa, and the next thing people, or I'm going to Nigeria, and somebody say, oh my God, is this safe there? Like, stop it. Don't do that. Stop. So it is not constantly unsafe in the continent of Africa. There are some parts that will have more unrest than others at particular times, but that is not the case for the entire continent. We are not always at war. Okay? Another common misconception about Africa is that there's no internet, there are no cell phones, there are no buildings, and there are no roads. Wow. Just wow. No internet? So when we need to communicate, we just roll up a piece of paper and put it in the beak of a bird and send the bird to the place, to the person who we're trying to communicate with. No internet, no cell phones? Really? Where is that coming from? No, we do have internet, we have cell phones. In fact, Nigeria, where I'm coming from, on the average Nigerian has at least 2 cell phones that they have paid for with their monies. So guys, no, there's internet, we have cell phones. Like, it's so ridiculous just thinking about it, but there are people who think like that. I heard a story once of somebody who got asked, oh, do flights leave Africa to the UK? I'm like, what? Do flights leave Africa? Like, that's like saying, do you have airports? Have you ever seen an airplane? Like, guys, where do you think it is? Like, we're in the jungle, like in the desert where there's no civilization and there are no roads. Like, where does that even come from? Technology in Africa, like, it feels weird saying this because you assume that everybody's supposed to know, but sadly people don't. So there's internet in Africa, there are buildings in Africa. Gosh, wrong, just wrong. Wherever these misconceptions come from, I don't know what your intention is, but wrong, cancelled, wrong. Africans are educated people. Africans are about the most educated people you will meet in the world. If you doubt me, look online, check the exploits that people from the continent of Africa are doing all over the world. We are educated people. We're not barbarians. Africans are not barbarians. We're very, very educated and enlightened people. Do your research, educate yourself. Okay? Well, there you have it, guys. I just thought today, let's just lay these misconceptions to rest. Okay, if you're not sure, if you meet somebody who's African and you want to learn more about their cultures, Put away your misconceptions, put away your biases, ask them like you're trying to learn, and not impose on them what you think you know about the continent of Africa. Just sound ridiculous and look very ignorant when you do that. So ask questions from a place of learning. Ask questions because you want to know. Do not impose anything on anybody. If you want to learn more about the continent of Africa, next time you meet an African, ask them. That's how you learn. I understand that this information is not readily available to everybody. That's why people run with these misconceptions. But now you have an opportunity. The next time you meet an African, please ask them intelligent questions. There you have it, guys. I just thought I should come today to lay these misconceptions to rest, and we can move away from it once and for all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button on your way out and turn on the bell notification. Join our ever-growing family, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, it's your girl Marina saying peace, y'all. Peace out.